Welcome back to my channel. My name is Charlene Randall. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe. Now, we talk about financial stories and news and more. So, we've been talking about the government shutdown. And this government shutdown has actually lasted for 41 days. So, this is the longest government shutdown ever. So, now that this is over, a lot of people are, they have different opinions about what's going on and, how they see the government now at this point, because a lot of things have happened from the beginning of the shutdown to this time. But I know a lot of people, um, we've seen so much as a result of the shutdown. So let's get into this video right here where they talk about the government shutdown and what exactly happened.
Breaking news right here on CBS News 24/7. Moments ago, Senate lawmakers voted to end the government shutdown. I'm Elizabeth Cook, and we are live right here on CBS News 24/7. The funding impasse has dragged on for 41 days now, the longest shutdown in American history. Just moments ago, the Senate secured enough votes to approve a bill to fund the federal government.
The bill as amended is passed. Under the previous order, the motion to reconsider is considered made and laid upon the table.
Let's bring in CBS News political reporter Hunter Woodall, who joins us live over the phone. Hunter, thank you for being with us. 8 Democrats sided with Republicans on this vote, all of which are either planning to retire or not up for re-election next year. What have these senators said about their decision? They're getting a lot of criticism from their own party.
That's the notable thing here as we've watched how Democrats responded in the last 24 hours. Obviously, a lot of pushback from Democrats amongst the party base and some rank-and-file Democrats, especially in the U.S. House, criticizing this group of Senate Democrats for moving forward and helping Republicans try and reopen the government. But honestly, when you look at their statements, you look at what they've said to reporters and to the public since their votes last night that essentially started this process of overcoming the hurdles to try and reopen the government, it's clear that the impact that the shutdown was having on their communities, on their respective states, is being deeply felt. And they essentially felt.
Yeah, the impact was definitely deeply felt. I see that. So you can see the government funding bill basically funds the government through January 30th, reverses layoffs of federal workers, guarantees back pay, includes 3 longer term funding bills. So this is the agreement that actually opened the government back up.
Like the compromise they were able to get was the best they're going to get, especially as the shutdown continued to stretch on and on.
Now, part of the compromise, Hunter, Republicans agreed to hold a vote by mid-December to extend the health care tax credits. Now, these were central to the Democrats' demands. What can you tell us about that decision?
That's the most contentious part here, because when you look at how the base of the Democratic Party, how House members and some senators are responding to this compromise, the idea that the most that Democrats were able to get out of any compromise was that there will be a vote next month. That's not sitting very well with a lot of Democrats, because obviously they have made affordability central to their argument for change in Washington. They have made, health care essential to their argument for what they want to see people be able to have in this country. This is not going to be enough for some Democrats, and it's going to be very interesting to see how they respond to this moving forward, because there's no guarantee now that these issues and concerns about the Affordable Care Act tax credits will actually be resolved, even if they get the December vote. Because let's say even passes the Senate, you still have the GOP-held House, and you still have President Donald Trump, and it's unclear how they would act on this.
Hunter, is this vote seen as a win for either party, considering the immense pain it's caused so many Americans?
Well, I think especially being on Capitol Hill earlier today, getting a sense of where things stood, I think obviously nobody feels great about how this has gone, the tensions that have obviously been shown here, and just the extreme partisanship that has been a hallmark of this shutdown. when you talk about, how shutdowns impact, every state, has constituents that have been impacted by what's going on. It's being felt, and especially as you get closer and closer to the holidays, the idea that travel could be impacted for folks moving across the country, going across the country to visit loved ones. I think it was a contentious time, and there's clear thought that hopefully now this shutdown will be put behind them. But I will note this government funding bill is, in many ways, is a short-term patch. It essentially, the funding goes through January 30th of 2026. There's nothing to say by that time we could still, fall into another government shutdown after that. There's a short-term patch, and that's going to be one of the things that we're watching moving forward.
So he says this is a short-term patch, and because the funding goes through January 30th. So I think, like they're saying, it basically puts people back into some sort of comfort, but the issues actually have to be, revisited at some point. So a lot of this is, it's something that I think that they could have done, sooner, but they waited to have the longest shutdown, 41 days, to do it. But the families that had to go through the impacts of the shutdown, I know they, don't have no say so over what happens and just feel the impacts, and that, it was a burden on the American people. So with workers being able to go back, and the families being able to be paid the back pay, and this is, the workers, the TSA workers, are coming back because they, now can, so they're not calling out, and they feel better at this point as well, just knowing that, things are not completely closed and shut down. So I mean, it is something that, they have to come back and discuss. So
Congressman Ro Khanna was on the takeout earlier today, Hunter, and he was asked about Senator Chuck Schumer's future. I want to listen to that soundbite there and get your reaction on the other side.
It's time for him to be replaced. He is not meeting the moment. He's out of touch with where the party's base is.
Hunter, what are you hearing from Democrats about Chuck Schumer's future with the party?
This is the fascinating thing about what we've seen. Obviously, Chuck Schumer is a Senate Democratic leader. He has had a topsy-turvy tenure so far since he essentially started leading the chamber after Harry Reid retired a few years back. And when you look at the contention here, obviously, I don't think Senator Schumer is going to be losing much sleep about a California House Democrat, Ro Khanna, saying, hey, he should step aside. But it does tell you where the Democratic Party may be headed. Because, again, this was a compromise. This was a compromise that Chuck Schumer didn't even vote for. But the idea that this is happening under Chuck Schumer's watch is enough to alarm Democrats, not just the Democratic base, which may have been unwilling to accept any kind of compromise, but also Democratic rank-and-file members like Congressman Khanna, like other members of Congress we're already seeing being very critical on the U.S. House side of what the Senate and those breakaway Senate Dems have done. Does give you a sign that for a party that is kind of torn between progressives and the moderates right now, this is a tension that is not going away, and it might even get more vocal in the coming months and years.
And I'm curious, the next step with this now heads to the House floor. Hunter, what do you think is going to happen there? What kind of debate are we going to see?
We obviously had a signal earlier today from House Speaker Mike Johnson. He was encouraging about this plan, encouraging about, hey, he's going to bring back the House after a long time of the House being away to vote on this plan. Now, I will note, House Republicans tend to not be very happy with short-term funding measures. They may feel a little bit better about this because there are some full-year appropriations bills, some full-year bills in this package, and that may help some concerns amongst rank-and-file Republicans. But seeing how Democrats are reacting so far, is it going to be a bipartisan bill? Is it going to be a bipartisan vote in the House, or is it going to be strictly partisan? If that's the case, it's a very narrow House GOP majority. Speaker Mike Johnson would likely have to keep his House Republicans together to pass that, or is he going to get help from Democrats to get this across the finish line? The signals we were getting earlier today, obviously, is that President Trump is supportive of this. supportive of the work that the Senate's done here. So really the question now is how the House fares for this when it comes back later this week.
Hunter Woodall, thank you so much. Well, if you're just joining us, breaking news, the Senate has officially passed a bill to end the government shutdown, the longest in American history. Just moments ago, Senate lawmakers voted 60-40 to approve a measure to fund the federal government. The bill still needs to be approved by the House and eventually signed by President Trump.
Well, the Senate has passed the bill, so that we know at this point that the government is back open. But as I said, there are going to be some things that has to be coming back to the table, because this is a short-term funding through January 30th. So as far as I can see, that's basically 2 months away. January 30th. We have about half of November left, and the full December. So the full December, the full January. So about 2 months left. So I guess it remains to be seen, how this is going to go and what changes we, have now, and how that's going to go further. But I know there are families that are happy that the impact at this point is less of a burden on the families, basically, because if you can't do nothing about it, then, you're just in the middle of, what is going on in the shutdown. So, and it's going to affect you regardless. It's going to affect the people regardless. So I'm glad that this is a long shutdown. This is the longest shutdown. And I think, as we were saying before, it had the most severe impacts, it had the most severe impacts of any other shutdown. So, this is what we have to deal with. So we will see. We have to see, exactly what's going to happen. And I will be keeping you updated on that information. Join the conversation, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. It helps me to be able to get more stories to you. So if you want to know what's going on, and you want to know, real things that are going on, and share your opinion on this channel, make sure you subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.